Hello everyone, my name is Angel Sandoval. I wanted to thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I've been in the book of Genesis lately, chapters 27 through 37, and I'm really blown away just by what I'm hearing. If you're not familiar with the story of Abraham, he's the guy that took his son up to the hill to sacrifice his son Isaac, and the Lord provided a sacrifice. If you haven't heard about it, look for it in Genesis, Abraham and Isaac. You can't miss it. So what I'm talking about today is actually Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau. Jacob betrayed his older brother Esau, and it just became a hard life for Jacob. Jacob then eventually had a son named Joseph. So we're talking about Joseph, the grandson of Abraham. And it's really intriguing because if you look at this story, Joseph had dreams. He could prophesy through dreams. Here's a story about this young man who had dreams that he was going to become a leader, but his half-brothers hated him for it. Every time he would tell them about his dreams, they just despised him. It even got to the point where Joseph's dad, Jacob, was like, "What are you talking about, man? Like, what do you mean we're going to worship you? Or what do you mean we're going to be bowing down to you?" Kind of like in a stern way. And Joseph's like, "Hey, Dad, I'm just telling you what I'm seeing." So if you haven't heard the story, it's really detailed because Joseph's brothers end up throwing him in a hole, a water well, to where he used to get water out of. And they wanted to kill this dude, his own brother. But there was a brother named Reuben who kind of was like, "Man, this isn't cool. Let's not do this to our brother." And he went back to rescue his brother in hopes that he could save him. But what he found out is the other brother sold Joseph to a caravan of people that were coming by, and they took Joseph and sold him. And as the story goes on, Joseph starts having dreams while he's in prison. And it so happens that the king learns of these dreams, and Joseph saves this whole land so many years later of famine that was coming. And God warned Joseph through the dreams, and the king even hired like his fortune teller people, all these people he used to entrust himself in, and none of them could interpret his dreams, but Joseph did. So God used Joseph in such a mighty way. But it doesn't end there. Years later, when Joseph's brothers who betrayed him, they needed food, and they heard that there was food in the land that Joseph was actually the main, like second to the king now. They go seeking food, and they didn't even recognize Joseph when they got there, but Joseph knew who they were. And then Joseph sees his baby brother Benjamin, who he loves so much. And you just really have to read this story because it's really about true forgiveness. Because what I got out of this story, and the reason why I'm sharing with you tonight, is Joseph could have been really mean when his brothers came back so many years later. He could have been like, "Hey man, you guys messed me up. I have the power to behead you now. I have the power to put you in prison for the rest of your lives." But instead he fed them and gave them a feast. But they didn't fess up. And the story goes, "Hey, what happened to your family? Like, tell me about you guys." And as they're telling him, Joseph, they leave out that there was a brother named Joseph. And later on, Joseph tricked them by putting his gold cup of wine that he was drinking out of, the cup, into his youngest brother who he loved, Benjamin's camel saddle pack. And it turns out that he set him up to make it look like Benjamin stole, so that he could scare the heck out of them and make them think that Benjamin had to stay behind when they took all this food back to their father, Jacob. Now, I know I'm bouncing around here. The reason why I am is because there's a point that I'm trying to make. Forgiveness. But also, Joseph held out in the storm. If you look at all the problems he went through before God made him in what he needed to be, you'll see that he suffered a lot. His dad suffered a lot. It got to the point to when, going back to the beginning, when Joseph was thrown into that well, that the brothers lied and took his coat of colors, killed an animal and put blood on it, and took it back to Jacob and told the dad that the brother had been eaten by a wild animal. I read in there that Jacob cried and mourned without being comforted for a very, very long time. He was depressed. He was hurt. He lost his son who he loved. In his eyes, it was all over. So many blessings happened in the end. Jacob was restored to his son Joseph, who he thought was dead many, many years before. And instead of being mean, Joseph blessed his brothers. How many people out there should be treated mean by you for what they did to you? How many people deserve wrath that have hurt you? But let's be like Jesus. Matter of fact, let's do what Joseph did. Forgive. Bless them. Jesus said, love your enemies. Do good to those that hurt you. Bless those that persecute you. I know it's so hard to do. I'm the least of person to try to tell that to. But every day I do try my best to forgive those who have hurt me. And I'm asking you to do the same. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. Jesus loves you. I love you. If you need prayer, my email's in the link and also on your screen. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye. Please don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button below and clicking the bell icon for future messages.